Hello, my dear learners. I hope that you are enjoying the lecture series on this channel. And if you have not subscribed my channel, then I just recommend to subscribe it so that you will receive all the videos on different economic topics. Okay, in this lesson, I am going to continue my discussion about the obstacles to the market efficiency, and I have already complete the discussion on the price ceiling and the market efficiency, and where you have learned that how price ceiling actually cause a loss in the efficiency, or how price ceiling actually cause or hinders the working for a market efficiently. In today's video, I'm going to focus on the price subsidy. That it seems to be very attractive from the consumer's point of view, that a subsidy to a price means that consumer can buy a good at a lower price. So of course it is going to increase the efficiency of the market. No, it is not. You will learn that how the price subsidy actually cause a loss in efficiency. I will give some examples, and then in the next video I will focus on the taxes as one of the tool that can, as one of the obstacle I should say, that cause inefficiencies in the market. So let us begin with the topic of the price subsidy and the efficiency of the market. Sometimes government tries to support the low income group by subsidizing the price of some essential goods like bread, butter, milk. And what actually government do here? Government purchase at a higher price these goods and then sell these goods at a lower price in the market. It is a kind of, you can say, a price ceiling. And you know that price ceiling always brings a loss in efficiency of the market, or it will always create a deadweight loss in the market. But the question arises here that how much will be the deadweight loss in case of price subsidy. In order to compute the deadweight loss or loss in efficiency, we always have to follow the three basic steps which are mentioned on the next slide. So as a first step, what you have to do, you have to compute the total surplus before the subsidy, and then you again have to calculate the surplus after the implementation of the government policy, which we are considering here as the price subsidy. And then as a last step, what you have to do, you have to take the difference before and after the implementation of this policy of price subsidy. This will gives you the total amount of deadweight loss or the loss in efficiency in this market because of this government policy of price subsidy. Sometimes government, in order to assist the low income group of people in the country, subsidize the price for some essential goods like bread, butter, and milk, etc. So in that case, government is actually purchasing at a higher price and then supplying that product at a lower price. This is actually the subsidy. In order to understand that, let us assume a small island economy where the government is purchasing or importing bread at a price of $2. And you can see that supply curve for bread is just a straight line parallel to the quantity axis, or we can say that it is actually the perfectly elastic supply curve, which shows that whatever is the supply, the price stays at $2, or we can say that the marginal cost or the cost of supplying an additional loaf of bread, it remains at $2. That's why it is a straight line parallel to the quantity axis. Or we can say that the marginal cost remains same or stays at a level of $2. So now let us try to calculate the consumer and producer surplus and the total surplus before the subsidy. Okay, before the subsidy, the consumer surplus can be calculated by the area under this demand curve and above this price. So this area is equals to the area of this triangle, and it is equals to $4 million per month. Why? Because the height of this triangle, it is equals to 4 minus 2, 2, and the width or base is equals to 4 million loaves of bread. So total consumer surplus is equals to $4 million per month. So consumers, they are enjoying a lot, right? This additional benefit of $4 million per month. Now what will be the producer surplus? Producer, who's producer here or supplier here? Government is actually the supplier, or it is actually purchasing the or importing the bread at a price of 2, right, and also selling at the same price. So the marginal cost or the minimum price at which the government is ready to sell, it is 2, and the market price is also 2. That's why producer surplus is equals to 0. The total economic surplus is going to be $4 million per month, and this is the situation before the implication of price subsidy. Now let us try to understand that what is going to be the total economic surplus after the subsidy. So you just have analyzed that how consumer surplus increases from $4 million per month to the $9 million per month because of the subsidy of $1 in the bread market. What government is actually doing, it is purchasing bread at a price of $2 and then selling it at a price of $1. So for each loaf of bread, the government is losing $1 per loaf of bread. So in order to provide the 6 million loaves of bread, government is actually losing total $6 million per month. So these are the we can say this is actually the cost of providing a subsidy for the price of the bread. And on the other hand, what actually is going to be the gain in this bread market? It is going to be in form of the increase in the consumer surplus. What is actually, how can we find out that increase in the consumer surplus? For that, what we need to do, we need to take a difference between the consumer surplus before and after the subsidy, which is equals to $5 million per month. Now we have the benefit of the subsidy and we have the loss because of that subsidy, or the cost of that subsidy. Now it's time to analyze that what is actually the net effect of this subsidy in the bread market. The net effect of the subsidy in this bread market can easily be calculated by just taking a difference between the benefit of this subsidy and the loss or the cost of that subsidy, which is equals to the $1 million. So we can say that there is a loss in efficiency which is equals to $1 million, or we can say that there is actually created a cost or the loss of efficiency or a deadweight loss because of that subsidy in this bread market, which is equals to $1 million. Okay. Now the question arises here that how government is going to face this loss of $6 million. Of course, we have already discussed it in some of the previous lessons that the source of income for the government is actually the tax revenues. One of the greatest source is the tax revenues. So government is going to impose or levied a tax on the rich people in order to get that income which government is actually losing because of providing this subsidy of $1 in the bread market. So on one hand the government is providing a subsidy, but on the other hand government is imposing a tax on the rich people. So that's why the net effect is going to be a loss in efficiency which is equals to $1 million per month. So diagrammatically, how can we calculate the deadweight loss? For that, what we have to do, we have to consider, or we have to calculate the area of rectangle which actually form at the new level of output, which is 6 million loaves of bread, and then from this level of output we have to move on the supply curve, right? Because this supply of 6 million loaves are actually corresponding to the price which is $2. So for government, whether the supply of output or supply of bread is 4 million or 6 million, for government the price remains same. So now you can see that the losses which the government is actually facing is equals to the area of this rectangle. Let me write it here as this is A, and this point let us say B. So the area of this rectangle A, B, 1 and 2 is actually showing the total losses to the government when it is giving a subsidy of $1. So let us try to calculate the area of this rectangle. It is you know that area of the rectangle is always equals to a product of height of the rectangle to the width of the rectangle, which is equals to 2 minus 1 1, and then width is equals to 6. So we can say that it is equals to $6 million, which shows the total losses to the government. So this is the way how you can find out the cost of this subsidy to the government, which is in form of $6 million. And we should also remember here that this subsidy is not free, and there is actually a cost to the government to provide this subsidy, which is equals to $6 million. And how government is going to finance this subsidy? Government will finance this subsidy by imposing taxes on the rich or middle income group of people. That's why some of the people who actually have higher income, they become unhappy because of this imposition of taxes. And this is actually a form that government is just using those tax revenues in order to give subsidy, or in order to make the good affordable for the poor or for the low income group of people. Okay, so when we look at the consumer surplus, you can see that it is equals to the area of this big triangle, right? So what about the deadweight loss? Deadweight loss is equals to the area of this small triangle that can be shown by this yellow triangle. So by calculating the area of this yellow triangle, you will have the total deadweight loss which is caused by the subsidy of $1. So let us try to calculate the area of this triangle. Here you can see that you have to multiply half to the product of height and width of this triangle, and it is equals to, what is the height? The height of this triangle, it is equals to 1. And what is actually the width? The width here you can see It is equals to 6 minus 4, which is equals to 2 million loaves of bread. And so the total area of this triangle is going to be 1 million dollar. So the net, you can say the net effect, or the net effect of the subsidy will be in form of losses of $1 million. Okay, or we can say that because of the subsidy, the government is actually facing a deadweight loss or loss in the efficiency, a loss of efficiency in this market of bread by an amount of $1 million per month. So the supporters of price subsidies, they are always in favor of giving a subsidy to the price for some essential goods like bread or milk or butter. But the opponent of these price subsidies, they are always tries to they will always suggest or recommend that instead of giving the price subsidy, it is better to transfer some income to the poor, so that, or low income group of people, in order to increase their income so they can afford that good. Because the overall surplus in case of giving a subsidy is actually the loss in the surplus is higher in case of subsidy rather than in case of increasing the income, or the case where the income is transferred to the poor by just imposing taxes on the rich people. In that case, the loss in efficiency is actually lower. So these are two opinions which we always need to consider while analyzing the deadweight loss or the impact of any government policy in form of subsidy or price ceiling. I hope that you have understood that topic of price subsidy and the deadweight loss associated with this price subsidy. In the next video, I will discuss how taxes actually causes a deadweight loss, and how can we determine the magnitude of the deadweight loss, which actually depends on the elasticity of demand and supply. If you like this video, then please thumbs up, and also if you have any comment, then you can comment below this video in the comment section.